Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Real Chumps. I am your host, Marcel, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Danny.
This week, we'll be discussing The Mandalorian.
Da-da-dun, da-da-dun, dun. We're going to have to pay royalties for that.
We probably should. I'll cut that. I'll just we'll start and then I'll just blip it.
Flip it. Not paying royalties for that. Which, great score, by the way.
Dudes, who do you know?
Ludwig Göransson. He also scored Black Panther. He did the first... I'm pretty sure he did the first two Creed movies.
Interesting.
He's just solid. All around solid.
Killing it in the music industry or music scoring.
Yeah.
I like the Black Panthers.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's fun. Yeah, the first one for sure.
Yeah.
Second one was also good. Definitely more melancholy and
I'm pretty sure he did the second one. I know for sure he did the first one, but yeah. No, he's a good guy. If you watch Score the podcast, or listen to Score the podcast, they've had him on a couple of times, and smart guy.
We should get those guys on.
We should actually.
Okay, we'll put that.
Okay,
let's put this.
yeah.
I'm gonna put that in show notes.
No, he especially the little do 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 do. He talks about how he had to travel to middle of nowhere Africa to find that instrument. There's only 10 of them available in the world, and somehow he got access to it. And it's not like your regular. It sounds like an oboe, but it's not. Or even like a flute type, but it's some other weird instrument.
Dude, I always thought it might have been the oboe.
Yeah.
Because it's got that or even not quite bassoon. Yeah, it's a very unique.
Yeah.
Woodwind.
Yeah.
So it's a woodwind, or is it more like a flute?
It's more of a woodwind. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess flutes are woodwinds, but you know what I mean? Not a reed. I mean, flutes aren't reed instruments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But anyway, yeah, we'll get those guys on here.
We should for sure. Okay. You have the question of the day?
We can do one. I can do one. Would you rather have Darth Vader's helmet with none of the scarring, none of the issues, but that's your look, or have Rey's lightsaber?
The orange one?
It kind of hints it's multicolor, right?
Oh, yeah,
with the staff.
Yeah.
Let's assume that it's double bladed.
Yeah, that's a good. Ooh, I definitely go double bladed. I mean, let's assume it's double bladed, then definitely double bladed lightsaber. Because playing the Jedi Survivor or game, whatever, the Fallen Order, is just so good. Just so much fun.
It is fun, actually.
And I also really loved the Jedi, the lightsaber crafting in that game.
You know, for me, on that game, once I found the combo I liked, I was just how does it? It's so much work to go back and
No.
I don't know.
No, I had a combo.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm with you on that one. Once you nail it down, that's the one I got.
That's what you have, yeah.
But I liked it that
you like to be able to play and choose that combo.
Yeah, the whole Jedi thing is
yeah.
Is it the episode in is it in Clone Wars where there's the whole little Padawans and they get stuck on a ship and they were supposed to make their own lightsabers? Yeah. Anyways, that's what
that is a good episode, actually.
It is a really good episode. Yeah. And every time I would go into that little table to make my thing, I just felt like those little Padawans and trying to figure out, well, what should I put for my lightsaber?
I like that. Good choice.
You.
I would go with the lightsaber too.
Yeah.
Her staff is so cool though.
Yes.
And we never get to we see it at the end, her kind of light it up, right? Hopefully for the movie.
Yeah, the new one.
They show that it's double bladed and whatnot, but it's a cool staff that she has.
Even if she doesn't make it double bladed, I think it'd be still sweet to be a staff lightsaber.
It's so long. It's a long staff, and we haven't seen that long since Darth Maul, at least, a lightsaber hilt to be that long, right?
Right.
So it'd be cool to just have a new concept for a lightsaber.
100%.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like I kind of wish that was something that happened more.
Yeah.
I mean, Dooku had the cool curve, or no. Dooku had the one, and then
Dooku had the curved one.
Yeah. And then
which is so cool.
What's the one in the Clone Wars? She was like bald.
Oh, the
I can't remember her name.
What is her name?
Anyways, but she also had somewhat curved ones, but they're like double.
And Ahsoka's are kind of curved too, right?
I think her
the ones that like Anakin gave her at the last at the end of Clone Wars are kind of like cool. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I think that it would, yeah. I mean, you see them in like the actual like toys that they make. They always have like somewhat unique, but like, I don't know, could be a lot of fun. I feel like where they have a lot of fun is actually in the, like the Imperials like guard, like their special. They have all those weird like.
Oh yeah.
Like we said, we'll talk about this in the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But that in the games they always every single one of those like boss level stormtroopers always have some like wild, crazy electric type.
Yeah, and it started with like what was his name from episode 3? The robot looking.
Yeah. Oh, Grievous.
Grievous. It started with his soldiers, right? They had those like spinning. Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, I feel like those guys are the ones really innovating over there. Even though they're just or there's a bunch of like people forced to do whatever they need to do.
Well, let's jump into
we digress.
We digressed a lot there.
Okay, sorry. Another digression. If you'd said Kylo Ren's helmet, I would have taken Kylo Ren's helmet.
Oh, 100%.
This is I don't know.
This is really cool.
It is really cool. Don't get me wrong. Darth Vader's freaking.
It's iconic.
It is iconic,
right? But Kylo Ren's is really cool, especially the one where he like did he reforge it like in episode 9, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Anyways.
Yeah. Well, now we know. Okay.
Now you know.
All right. Well, let's talk about. So we're kind of doing things a little bit different for this episode.
Yes.
This is our first series discussion, and we're going to be talking, like as we mentioned, about the Mandalorian. It just finished a few weeks ago, and we decided to just let's chat about it. It had a unique ending, and let's just kind of dissect what these first 3 seasons were, this new world that was introduced, and just kind of let's chat about it.
Yeah, for sure. We're your chums.
We're your chums.
We want to have a discussion, and like I think that TV discussions for shows is something that we want to do a little bit more of.
Yeah.
But it is harder because like if we're gonna do it in one episode, we're gonna have there's just a lot to cover.
Yeah.
So we may not talk about your favorite moment or whatever, but we're gonna do our best to really provide some like a great insight.
Yeah.
For what we've seen.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start?
And with that, if we don't get to your favorite part, email us, right? Email us, send us a message, tell us what was your favorite scene or what has been your favorite aspect that perhaps we didn't get to during this conversation.
Where would you like to start with this series?
So maybe a little bit preface. We will discuss all of seasons 1, 2, and 3, not in great detail, but I think just for the context of this last season, I think it makes sense to just dive a little bit into the other 2.
Yeah.
I kind of want to just general feelings. Do you like The Mandalorian? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 100%.
Why?
One, it has a Western feel.
Yeah.
Okay, so from 310 to Yuma, if you haven't listened to the episode, go check it out. I kind of found a love for Westerns, and in that episode, you asked me would I want to watch Western. This would classify as one of those shows that I get to watch. Part of it is because, and also it's a unique, or Mandalorians have always been a unique character in the Star Wars universe that I've always loved. I didn't like Boba Fett.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. we're gonna get some comments on that, but okay. All right.
I love when I blow you, I just shatter your reality. Yes, I know. Not that I don't. Boba Fett's cool, and he was cool in like the Star Wars episodes, but I don't know. He never jived with me. But the Mandalorian culture and like what they were, I always thought they were intriguing.
Yeah.
And part of it is like everyone would be like, well, he's not a true Mandalorian. So there's that whole backstory and whatever. And so when they came out with the Mandalorian and we started getting this like very specific world, I fell in love.
The lore and
all of it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that. It's okay. So I like the Mandalorian. I really enjoy it. I think one of the things that stood out to me right from the beginning was, I just forgot what's his name, not Dave Filoni, the creator of the series. He did Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2. Elf.
Dude, I'm terrible with names. If people haven't realized that I'm terrible with names as a filmmaker, you can just keep it to yourselves.
You can just keep it to yourself.
You keep talking. I'll look it up.
Jon Favreau. Oh, so one thing that I really appreciate right from the beginning about Jon Favreau is that he said, we're not being influenced by Star Wars. Rather, we are being influenced by the things that influence Star Wars, that influenced George Lucas, right? Which was, samurai stories, Westerns, right? And they took that concept, and you feel that a lot, especially in the first season. And so I just fell in love with retelling, which again, you go to like the sequel trilogies, and they're extremely influenced by Star Wars.
Yes.
And not by the things that influenced George to create Star Wars. And so the Mandalorian, I think, does that really well. It goes back to the hero's journey. It goes back to the individual perspective of conflict. And I felt like that was done really well. I think overall, though, I loved season 1, season 2, season 3 was fine, and we'll discuss into it. But I'm all for the Mandalorian. I think, like you mentioned, the Mandalorian culture was teased so much, especially like in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I think my first interaction with them was like in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. They mentioned them several times in there. I'm like, ooh, cool. So it was great to finally like dig into the lore, the history, everything about the Mandalorians. And I want more. Like I do. Although I would be okay if they don't make more because of how this season ended.
Yeah. I would be okay, actually before we get into this, because I think that would be what was your impressions of Pedro Pascal in the first season, coming into a role as like as this Mandalorian?
So a lot of thoughts. One, I was super hyped. The fact that we were getting like a Latino in there, I was like, yeah, represent, man. Let's do it.
Let alone Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, he's great in Narcos. Like, he's awesome. He brings a lot of like gravitas to his characters.
He's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, he
loves what he does. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I think it definitely shows.
Yeah,
in this series.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. His voice is really unique.
Yeah.
Like how which is like when you hear him in interviews and then like hear his Mandalorian voice, it's great. I will say that like my guess is that 98% of the time it's a body double that's in this costume, right? And not him. And definitely, like, probably 100% of the time in season 3, it was a body double and him just doing the voiceover.
You feel that
100%.
Wow, now I have to like rewatch it.
I think so.
I mean, he yeah.
I apparently, and I was reading a little bit about this. Like, there was conflicts with The Last of Us.
Okay, yeah, yep. I could see that.
And so there was, which is unique because we've seen him take off the helmet in every season except for season 3. And I think they set an expectation that we ought to see him take off his helmet. I also think that's a danger for this show. That if moving forward, if we don't see more of Pedro, of Din Djarin, his face, I think there's a disconnect. I think for audiences, there's going to be a disconnect of being able to connect to a character who we can't see emotion. That doesn't mean that he's not a good voice actor.
Correct.
But it just eventually you're going to get to a point as an audience where you're going to have that disconnect.
I think this is why, and so I was gonna say later on, but I'm just gonna talk. I feel like they could. I would actually love to see a Mandalorian, or maybe like another series that's based off of this world, and it's not necessarily just Din Djarin, and it's maybe a little bit more of like the Mandalorians on Mandalore, maybe Bo-Katan, but maybe just some of her like the crews, and again, Katie, or Kate,
Katie Sackhoff,
yeah, coming in and doing other cameos, and Pedro Pascal doing cameos as Mandalorian, just because like they just have. There was several characters in there. We have the, the armorer. We have what's the other Bo-Katan's crew?
Oh, Wolf, and I forget
but that whole crew.
Yeah,
I mean, like, and I would love that because I 100% agree with you. I actually felt not. They set it up into the fact that when the armor said that we want to bridge, that maybe they were going to
find like, some kind of a balance, right?
Yes, maybe within the clans, right? Say like, look, we as a clan can come together and we can remove our helmets together, and have like this sort of like thing where like, okay, we trust you, and have it be like this show of trust within the old way and this newer like not as strict form. Again, this is just me, my own versioning and writing in my head of things like that. But because there's a big reason why filmmaking needs faces, honestly.
Yeah.
Because there's subtext.
You're absolutely right. And I think if they're not careful, they're going to lose that. And maybe that is what they're trying to do, right? Like maybe my understanding, and I read this when the first season came out, was that supposedly they were going to hire Pedro Pascal as a voice actor, and he was going to get paid as a voice actor. But then he said, no, I'll make an appearance. And that's when they removed his helmet, and therefore got paid as an actual actor. And he did a couple more scenes. But maybe that's the route that they're going, is he's become too popular, too expensive for this show, that we're not going to remove his helmet anymore for whatever appearances he makes. But it's a bummer because I think for the sake of the story, it would have been great, like you mentioned, as this show of trust, or even a show of progress as a society. Like within our commune, we will show who we are, right? Yeah. And from that aspect, and also I feel like from our viewpoint as viewers, we want to see Pedro, man. Like he's such a great actor.
I want to see other characters too. Yeah. Like I want to see, because like there is some, again, what's really interesting to me is the fact that like some of the other Bo-Katan's and Wolf's crew are very different races.
Yeah.
Like part of it is that some of them are family. So like where are there like these, each individual Mandalorian could have a unique story that that can be played, come into play. Right. I don't know. Mm-hmm. To me, what is so unique about the Mandalorians is that they have such a they're similar to the Jedi in the sense that they have like a history. They have like a like lore. They have this sort of like creed.
Yeah.
The Jedi, right? They have this creed. They have these, maybe not sort of creed, but laws and like councils and like
values, and principles that they live by. Yeah,
correct. And to me, that's something that is, to me, especially in the Star Wars universe, always is such a helps bring the like other side of the coin when it comes to what the Star Troopers and like I don't remember. I can't. I literally cannot keep track. Are they the separatists versus like all the like terms that they come across and like
the imperialists?
Yes, all of it. I'm like, which one are they fighting? Who are they fighting this time?
How do you all connect?
I'm like, I'm not as good. I'm sorry, guys. I love Star Wars, but I cannot keep track of these guys.
In this case, they're fighting the imperialists, the whatever remnants there are. Yeah.
So, anyways, I don't know. Some thoughts.
Let's talk about that now that you brought up them. Moff Gideon. What's his name? Carlos Esposito?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of him?
Dude, he's the most menacing character. I mean, I know Thrawn is supposed to be coming, but Moff Gideon, I wish they'd done more.
Really?
Dude, I felt like he killed it. I mean, like, I almost felt like it brought me back to some of his scenes in Breaking Bad. Very straight, like, but his facial features,
exactly,
again, like arrogance, his pride, I mean, everything about him was like, I am superior, and you guys are all peasants.
Yeah,
you're not even peasants. You're insects.
And especially in the first season, you feel this constant threat. Going back to 3:10 to Yuma, right, where Ben Wade's posse felt like a constant threat in the background.
Yes,
you feel that from Moff Gideon, right? You know, there's a bigger, darker baddie out there. You don't know who it is or what his intentions are, but you feel him throughout the whole first season.
No, but not only do you not know his intentions, but whenever he shows up, he was brutal.
Yeah.
Like, there was just like that posse, like, you know, his crew was also brutal, right? They had to be the cutthroat. You know, what's the line in 3:10 to Yuma again? That is like, I wouldn't last 10 seconds if I wasn't rotten as rotten hell, right? That's how I feel like Moff Gideon is.
Yeah. And listeners, we love, obviously, 3:10 to Yuma. I think we reference it
literally once a week now.
If you haven't listened to that episode, go watch the movie and then listen to that episode. It's a great movie. But I love Moff Gideon. I was kind of over him by the third season. I'll be honest.
But see, he didn't play a huge role in the second season. At least I don't remember.
Right. I mean, he kidnaps Grogu, right? And then you have the big showdown at the end. But I think it was great when you know, in the first season, he has a big role in the last two episodes. And then in the last episode, he's flying the TIE fighter. He crashes. You think he's dead. And then he comes out with the
dark saber.
The dark saber, right? And that's how the season ends.
Right.
And then you see him more. Then you feel the presence in the second one, right? But by this third season, I was just kind of like, oh, we're still with this guy, like.
Okay.
I was kind of, and this is not a criticism at his acting.
Yeah.
I just think I was kind of like, why are we bringing him back? And it was to close some loose ends from the other two seasons. I just didn't like him this last season.
I think what it was is I liked the character.
Yeah.
And I think what really comes down to is like, you are correct in the fact that like, they didn't do enough with him in the story.
Yeah.
The writing for him and the way he plays out in the arc is actually pretty weak. His character, his presence, who he is, and I think
well, no. I mean, let's talk about that. So it turns out that everything from season 1, him experimenting on Grogu and kidnapping him, was his end goal, and seeing like some cloning. His end goal was to create an army of clones of himself with midichlorians that he took from Grogu, so that that way they could use the Force. And then Din Djarin, Mandalorian, sees that, he pushes a button and they all just die.
Yeah.
Like I just felt like,
and then there's a battle with Moff Gideon,
and then the battle at the end with Moff Gideon, right? Where which he's great. He loves his monologue. That Moff Gideon loves a good monologue. Okay, Star Wars in general, but I think they've given Moff Gideon some good monologues.
Yeah.
But in the middle of this fight scene, he expresses how dare you, like, you killed my clones, and it's like everything that we've been leading up to with the cloning, with kidnapping Grogu, with why you hired the Mandalorian in the first place, right? Like it was all just kind of. It was resolved way too quickly.
Bro, I feel like we should... I mean, we're not going to change the name because I love our name. But literally, I'm just reminded as we talk about these movies, where, like... Can people just go back to the basics?
Yeah.
Like, can we just, like... If we're going to do a TV show, can we put consequences? Like, think about the payoffs.
Yeah. Yep.
Because they do the setups.
But this payoff I just felt was taken away from me.
And I think what it comes down to is that they set up the payoff, or they set it up, but they didn't write and they didn't incorporate the imperialists and what was happening with them because there was a little bit of presence, but in season 3 we also would get this like, okay, now he's not actually like set away, and like there's like this thing where like, oh, he's no longer in the picture, but he's actually in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, could like give us let us know. The characters don't know, but we know, so we can just feel again what's happening, what's moving forward, right? I know that's like, oh, like a big reveal, but it doesn't feel like a big reveal when there's not enough, especially in TV series, when there's not enough continual like check-ins. I don't know if that's the best way to like term.
Yeah.
But because I think about like TV genres, like, you know, like I think about one of my favorite TV shows, Bones. And in Bones, have you seen Bones?
Mm-mm.
Dude, it's one of my favorite, like, period. It's phenomenal. The character development is phenomenal, but in those series, they often have a serial killer that ends up reoccurring.
Oh, okay.
Throughout a couple of seasons, that like there's an episode that kind of like moves it along, but then we don't check in with them for a while, right? It's just like, and then each one there's like a bigger stake or some bigger thing, but something happens in those episodes that then like impact those characters in other episodes and other things that trigger back to that scenario, right?
Sure.
I just feel like that's not happening. That didn't happen here in the Mandalorian. Like, they're not, even though it was just 3 seasons, like they could have had at least one episode in the second one to bring us back in and connect us with that, maybe a little bit more. But because the second one was almost like, okay, well, we're gonna get rid of Baby Grogu to go to the Force. Ahsoka shows up. You know, we have Luke comes in, which is great. You know, that was a great win for Star Wars.
Yeah.
To see like young Luke,
Luke in his prime,
just wreck. You know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like they come in, and then all of a sudden it's like back to Grogu comes back.
Boom, right there. I think that was my issue with the start. My initial issue with season 3 was that we had a mini episode during Book of Boba Fett, right, where it was just an episode of The Mandalorian. we said, all right,
next chapter.
Yeah, peace out, Boba Fett, for like a whole episode. We're gonna go back to Mandalorian, or to the Mandalorian, and we see the whole journey of Din Djarin going back and meeting with Grogu. He doesn't meet him, but talking with Luke training Grogu, and then all within one episode and a half, Grogu decides to go back to the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And I just felt like we ended season 2 on such an emotional high, in all aspects. Like in the aspect of like they're being separated. We saw Luke, Moff Gideon got caught, right? And this emotional high. Then we do a small episode where we say, "Oh, we're gonna bring him back together."
I forgot that was in the Book of Boba Fett.
It's in the Book of Boba Fett, right? It's such a weird way to approach it, but and then in that same episode, they give us the premise for what season 3 is going to be, which is you're gonna have to go back to Mandalore. The armor tells them you're gonna have to go back to Mandalore and
retake,
atone for your sins, right? He does that in the first 2 episodes. And so like it was an interesting approach to it all. And I felt like that, going back to payoffs, you left me on such an emotional high that bringing them back together, I would have wanted at least half a season, if not a full season of them apart. Now I know that for people love Grogu, I get it.
There's an article. Sorry, I'm gonna let you finish that.
No, yeah, people love Grogu, and they love Grogu and Mando together. But I think we, as an audience, need to allow ourselves to sink in and feel with our feelings of them being apart.
And not only that, but letting studios not cave in to just give people what they want.
Yeah,
because I 100%. Could you? I mean, okay, granted. Part of him, Din coming back to Mandalore, Grogu ends up saving, Din with Bo-Katan. Okay, yeah. So that's that's kind of a big thing. But could that have happened a little bit later with some other aspect that maybe caused them to then be reunited, or him going back to then needing, I don't know, something to them going back to Mandalore together, and this being like the indicator, I want to be with you. Like they want to be together.
Yeah.
Right? Or whatever it might be.
Right. And I think for me, my favorite parts of season 3 were when Din Djarin is with Grogu and he's telling him, "Hey, if you're going to be a Mandalorian, you need to learn how to navigate the stars. You can, you're never lost." Those like small intimate moments that he's having with this puppet, they were great. But I think I like what you said. Like maybe you bring him back in later and have him those opportunities where they can have that decision to come back, right? Because quite honestly, like Grogu didn't, besides saving him, in that first or second episode, didn't do much the rest of the season.
Well, and then he gets, it's, to me...
This season was definitely focused on the Mandalores.
Yeah. Which...
On Mandalore and the Mandalorians. But, like, that's why, at the same time, coming to the end of this season, I was like, it would have been okay for you to not have Grogu here. It would have been fine. Or to at least bring him towards the end.
Yeah. Because I think that payoff would have been better. Yeah. For the final scene, or with the fact that, like, he adopts him as his own. Yeah. Like, to me, it's like, because we all knew that was going to happen. Yeah. I mean, especially when he comes back. They're like, oh, and especially in some of the first little bit where he is having some of those intimate moments of like, well, if you're going to be a foundling, well, he's too young. No, him knowing that he can do more and he should be treated, accordingly. Mm-hmm. Right. And then even on top of that, like getting a little bit more of Grogu's backstories. Yeah. Like we got just like a sliver of that. Right? Like, and I'll say that was probably some of the, like, again, these moments, man, we're gonna this is so hard. Give us moments that we can resonate with. Yeah. Give it, this is so tragic. Give us a little bit more pain or passion.
I love that. Pain or passion. Either one, right? Yeah. And I think, I just felt like they should have kept Grogu apart, right? They were only apart for half an episode, episode and a half. Yep. And that just doesn't seem fair.
I'm gonna look this up. Did you see the article that's the Mandalorian has a Baby Yoda problem?
I don't think I read.
It was on Vox.
Okay.
And I'm gonna link it in the show notes. So let me just grab this real fast and throw it over here. But check out this article. I think what we've kind of talked about is I think what they touch on a little bit. It's just that like it's not that we don't like having Grogu isn't not. It's not that he's not a cool character.
No.
Or whatever. But there could be that it's maybe like a crutch to get more viewerships, because when there's no episodes with Grogu, then maybe the younger audience doesn't want to watch it, or I don't
know. I'll argue. I've had this argument with other people before. My favorite episode of all 3 seasons was in season 2 when Grogu had been kidnapped already, and so then they go in season 1. The Mandalorian gets meets up with some of his old mercenaries, and one of them, anyways, he helps them escape from this prison, and the one guy, and anyways, in season 2, they go and break him out of this prison, or out of this prison planet, so that they can have him help them find the coordinates for the Star Destroyer for Moff Gideon's. And it's that scene, or it's that episode with the train, and then it all culminates at the very end when they're in the Imperial base, and they have to scan the face, and Mandalorian takes off his helmet, right, and he's having this conversation with what's the actor's name? He's a comedian. Anyways, that's my favorite season. There was no Grogu, and again, it's not that I'm dogging on him on Baby Yoda. Rather, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. It's a raw performance from both actors. Again, and seeing Pedro Pascal take off his helmet, and he gives that and that emotional performance. The other character, what's his name?
I'm gonna look it up. Just
look him up. The other character is kind of provoked by one of the Imperial officers, and then he just kind of loses his mind. He's provoking him about how, well, we did it for the Empire, and his people, because he was a former imperialist, his soldiers were killed by orders from imperial officers, and so he's getting mad about that and confronting this Imperial officer. And then he just kind of loses it and shoots the guy. And then he's like, well, everyone's coming after us now.
Yeah.
Right? That's my favorite episode in all 3 seasons. And it's giving us raw moments, allowing us to feel the anger, the hatred that this character has towards the Empire, even though he was a member of, and even though he's not really, quote unquote, a good guy.
Right.
Right? He almost had the Mandalorian killed in the first season.
Right.
But we're not relying so much on Grogu.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this season lacked.
It's not that we're not relying on Grogu, because we are.
Yeah.
It's the innate desire of Din to want to rescue him, or to get him.
Yeah.
To help him.
Yeah.
Maybe not rescue. I mean, it is a rescue, but to help him, right? As a father, he's kind of already. I mean, he's taking him as a foundling, so he has a responsibility. He feels like there's a responsibility there. So there's a desire, a innate. I mean, part of what happens in the whole first season is that his character changes from being a lone bounty hunter, doing these things, helping his coven as the sole person that is out in the open, bringing in resources and funds and things to help the
foundlings
and everything,
and everyone else,
and then find somebody who ignites that desire of protection, of care, right? That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, and we could have had something similar, but on Grogu's end, right? With other, didn't have to be a Luke. I mean, I get it. Star Wars, they don't want there's budgets and having to do all this thing and hashing up whatever. But there could have been perhaps another mean or even just like a half a episode where we have a little bit more of like on Grogu's end of more of like a need where he's struggling with the Force. I mean, I don't know, because the characters are solid,
very solid.
I mean, I think that the characters that are in in the different aspects and the way they did it felt very Star Wars. I think what it comes down to is in this third season, we don't get where even with the Mandalorians coming back, there's a great fight scene. Like the Mandalorians and the Dark Troopers and all this, the Star, like them fighting and whatever. It's fun. It's cool. But it almost feels cheapened as for the Mandalorians.
Okay.
Did you feel that?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Like it was cool imagery. Like I've been wanting to see a jetpack fight scene, right?
Oh, absolutely, so sick.
And so it was cool, but yeah, I just don't feel like it was earned again.
Do you think that it was rushed? Do you feel like this season was rushed?
100%. I feel like season 1 and season 2 were well thought out, and then I think they said, "Oh boy, what should we do with season 3? Let's take back Mandalore." And I think the idea of taking back Mandalore, I think that was not an original plan. I don't think they knew what they were going to do with season 3.
Why do you think what?
I feel like for a couple of reasons. One, season 2 we're introduced to Bo-Katan, right? In live action, and this conflict between the Mandalorian's creed and Bo-Katan's history. Moff Gideon is caught, and I think that's it. But I never felt like season 1 or season 2 really were about the Mandalorian as a whole, about bringing back Mandalore, taking back Mandalore, and I felt like at some point Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were like, well, let's just play out the fact that they go back and get Mandalore,
and that there's Okay, so we watched it together for the final episode.
Yeah,
and I binged all the episodes prior. And I thoroughly liked several episodes in this season. But when we were watching together, I thought it was great to see it was really cool to see all the Mandalorians, and it shows to me, I'm like, it just again reiterated that I want more Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Because they're such fierce people. And they're like, anyways, and such a unique character in the Star Wars universe. But how when you called, them getting trapped, and Mando or the Din kind of getting taken away, and it felt like all of a sudden there was like this huge force, this huge conflict that oh, we can't take back Mandalorian because the Imperials have been using this as a secret base.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's like, what the heck? It's like this huge, and it's not like just, and it's like not only that, but also with the clone, oh, okay, we have the whole clone, whole, Moff Gideon's clones. It's like all the stuff. Yes, they destroy them. Yeah, it's whatever. But the fact that it was this quick thing, they show
so
up
quick
and they happen. I get it. It's hard because they're supposed to be secret. It's a secret base, and that whole aspect. I think what it comes down to for me is that we kind of had a huge ride emotionally with the desire to get back all the Mandalorians back to Mandalore. But it is all of it like especially the last half of the season feel like I think when I think back about it now, it is all rushed.
Yeah,
because like you think they get like a little spot to like be there. All of a sudden they go and get the fleet. They show up with a freaking huge Imperial destroyer that they've commandeered, and then go to Mandalore. Like,
yeah, I almost think again have your one episode in the middle of Boba Fett where Mando is tasked to go and atone for his sins, right? It introduces that premise for the next season, and that's it. Don't go get Grogu. Then season 3 is about him trying to figure out, okay, how do I navigate like me being not being a father figure anymore? So he falls back to his old habits, right? Taking jobs, whatever it is. And then you have to have him, there has to be a reason for him to come back to being the Mando that we love at the end of season 2, who is loving, caring, who's a father figure. And then you can introduce Bo-Katan in that story arc a little bit later. I just don't, and don't give us, the taking back of Mandalore. Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I was actually just thinking, look, this is, we're in an era of TV that like there are no rules.
Yeah.
Disney has come out already that like they're not doing full 12 like they're not doing like standard like televisions like Netflix does 8 to 12.
Yeah.
Okay. What are we getting? Like 6
to 8 from
maybe
Disney. Yeah.
Okay. Why not break what they would have done for this third season into to another season? Have us have a little bit of space with Grogu and Din like you're talking about. And give us a good cliffhanger that is the entire next thing is the threat that like the big reveal towards the end is the fact that like Mandalore is profit, it can be livable, but there are imperialists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like I was telling you when I was like, look, I think that they're gonna have what's the actual Mandalorian like symbol, the like beast,
the mythosaur.
Yeah, the mythosaur. I was like, dude, they're gonna bring the myth. The other Mandalorians are gonna see the mythosaur in something, and I would have freaking loved that. They didn't do that.
Yeah,
right. I get it. Like, okay, maybe but what are they setting up there? They're not gonna do anything with Bo. They're not gonna do it again. They're not like. Yes, she sees the mythosaur. There's like a little thing with the armor, but like I'm convinced at this point that like nothing's gonna happen with that little like nugget.
That one, and let's talk about I actually enjoyed this episode a lot. The episode that takes place on Coruscant.
Yes,
really enjoyed that.
Oh, so good.
One, I'm just a sucker for anything Coruscant. Like, I was so bummed that they didn't show Coruscant in the sequel trilogy because, like, I don't know, I just felt like
it's a vibrant city.
Vibrant, right? It was quote unquote the center of the galaxy, but yeah, like I loved it. One, and I love I love how they show like the aftermath of the Empire and how these little remnants of the Empire and how they're adopting them back into society and whatnot. But you're also seeing like the fallacy of the New Republic and it's inevitable, like the fall as well, and how they're just a bunch of bureaucratic idiots. So like I loved the political aspect of it. Yes. I loved it. But it was just that one episode and Dr. Pershing gets tortured at the end and like that's it. Like was there supposed to be more there?
Dude, I don't know. I had the same thought. I literally it was erased from my memory until you just brought it up.
Yeah.
Even though I love that episode.
It was a great episode, but like you would have been fine not having that episode.
Literally, you could have omitted that. I mean, the only tie to that is the fact that he wanted to continue his cloning research, and it was literally a whole episode to give us the exposition of why Moff Gideon wanted to take
Grogu. Yeah,
that's what it was.
But I could have come to that. We come to that realization when he tells us that's why he took him.
Yeah.
You know, in his monologue at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great episode, but like it's just like again, like I just don't think they really knew what to do this last season.
Yeah. You know what I want? I want a whole military style Mandalorian series of the episode that Carl Weathers directs, where they come back and they take on the giant pirate ship and save the city. Even though it was like, again, because TV and Star Wars, like it's like super fast, but like I could take a whole series. I could take even if it's just a limited series. It's just Mandalorians doing some crazy operation, and like they have like whole tactical situation. Yeah. They're trying to like do the whole. They do their thing. And it ends up being some like huge thing that impacts both sides of like the war. I would 100% go for that.
I like that. Listen up, Lucasfilm. We've got a pitch for you.
At me,
Dave Filoni. Well, let's actually talk a little bit about this. What do you think the future of the Mandalorian is?
I think,
keeping in mind that we have Ahsoka coming out, that the Skeleton Crew, which I'm pretty sure takes place in the same time frame, and that we have a movie already scheduled to come out
that's going to incorporate Ahsoka,
Mandalorian,
and like
probably Skeleton Crew. I don't know.
You think so?
Maybe. I don't know.
I would like that. I would love to have Skeleton Crew live action. No, sorry, not Skeleton Crew. That's not I'm thinking of the Bad Batch.
You think Bad Batch? But
the other, yeah. But we kind of talked about this a little bit. I was on the assumption, or I had the feeling that like the movie's going to be like out in 2 years, but your assumption,
I think it's going to be out in like
4 years,
4 to 5 years. I don't think they're going to start production on it like for another 2.5 years.
I mean, so the real question is like, will there be other seasons of The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be.
Really?
I think if they do, it's going to be one other season, and like we're not going to like it.
But it's such a okay. Well, I'm coming at you from like a business perspective. It's such a bankable property.
Oh, I know.
Why would Disney not want another 3 seasons?
I mean, we discussed this. I think we discussed that there'll probably be 3 seasons.
Yeah.
I think I don't know how this season really plays out. I mean, from what I've seen, it's been a mixed bag on the receiving of this season. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to look at Ahsoka. I think we're going to look at Ahsoka because they left it open.
Yeah.
It was, it's a pretty clean ending.
Yeah, it's a satisfying ending in the sense that they're together. Mandalore has been taken back. Bo-Katan is being a leader. Like, solid.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
That's what it is, right? Like, just like, all right, we're back to this, like, we're grinding away on our world. Then there's like this one other person just like lone wolfing it.
But they do hint that like, hey, during your adventures, you have a home, right? So like, they hinted at like, and he goes to the Republic officers and says, hire me to like take out dudes for you.
Yeah. He's building a new code.
Yeah.
And part of that is to train his apprentice and all this other thing. So, easily could there be three new seasons? That could be a whole new arc. Mm-hmm. My thing is, I think like they're gonna look at Ahsoka. They're gonna see how that plays out.
Yeah.
And I mean, if they come out with like some sort of release date or some sort of like map of like roughly when these Star Wars movies are gonna come out, then I'll be convinced. I'll be like, oh yeah, for sure we're gonna have. I mean, it's literally a cash. There's so much money to be had with all the merchandise and all the stuff. So they're probably going to do another one. My question will be, will it be one that we'll enjoy? Or will we really be like, well, this is just, they're biding their time until they get the movie.
Yeah.
They're going to, I'm waiting for it. When I will have some opinions when we see Ahsoka.
Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hopeful that Ahsoka is going to be really good.
Me too.
Like I want it to be good. I want to go back to like seeing Jedi.
I'm trying to like
set your expectations. Like
I'm like trying to. I'm not like lowering my expectations, but I'm trying to keep my expectations in check.
Okay.
Because Ahsoka is one of my favorite Jedis.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
She's awesome. And we'll talk Ahsoka, but like, okay, so I'm hoping Ahsoka is good. I hope Mando and Grogu make an appearance in Ahsoka at least. And hopefully maybe in the Skeleton Crew. Mainly because the Skeleton Crew is the main character is Jude Law, dude.
Oh, dude, freaking Jude Law. I love Jude Law.
I would love to see Jude Law and Mando like just interact. Anyway, I digressed. My love for Jude Law. Put a little picture here of Jude Law. Just
the hearts
popping around him.
Dude, we gotta do a Jude Law movie, man.
The Holiday.
Oh, dude, that's nice.
Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh, so many good ones.
Okay, but I'm hoping, I would love to see at least one season of just like training and like and helping Grogu. I'm ready for Grogu to start talking, by the way.
Dude, friggin' yes. I'm ready for Grogu to, if not talking, communicating in some other, and with the Force.
Yeah.
Like doing something that helps provide Mando like a better communication thing.
So I'm ready for that. But I would love to see another season of them just going on adventures, taking on tasks, assignments, seeing Grogu learn, grow, adapt to becoming a Mandalorian with Jedi and Force
and armor,
right? But then you have Ahsoka, you have a season of Mando, but I would love to see like, and we got a hint of this, like he goes to the not rebels, he goes to the New Republic and says, hey, hire me for anything. I would love for maybe the New Republic to start hiring him, or these soldiers to be like, hey, we're hearing rumors of Thrawn or of this
possible
threat out there, right? Out in the outer rims, and like for him to kind of take more of those missions. I hope that Mando dies in the movie.
Yo, 100%.
I'm gonna get hate for this, but I'm okay with Ahsoka dying. Like I think it's.
I think to me, yes. I mean, or one of them. Like to me, I think Ahsoka's gonna would it feels like the character could be one of the characters that end up, or maybe, I mean, I don't know, both of them at some point. Because the thing is, like, Ahsoka is a huge character. She's I mean, a very powerful arc that we don't know much about, and that we're gonna get for the first time in a live action.
Yeah,
so I'm really excited for that. We're gonna get another Sith, 2 Siths, possibly.
Yeah,
with actual Jedi fights. You know, like there should be really good things. And to me, I mean, we didn't even touch on this, but like the Darksaber being destroyed, it felt like should have been a bigger deal.
Yeah, I see what, like, I see the metaphor in it. Like you can lead Mandalore without having and we'll follow you, right? You don't need the sword for us to follow you, type of thing. I get it. But yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, but having an arc. Honestly, I would love what you just suggested. I would love to have that. I would love to have a whole nother 3 arc where it is more growth, even have a bigger time span.
Yeah.
Of like when things happen, so we get bigger progress and different things that come in with different characters from some of these other shows that like we've already gotten. That indicate like where things like how things end up being connected to like the greater story.
Yeah.
In the Star Wars universe.
And then if both Din and Ahsoka die in the movie, you have Grogu that then has to step up, and now we see him in the Rey movie.
Oh yeah, yep.
As a talking, sentient. Not that he's not sentient, but
no, right. But do you okay? The question, but the thing is, so I see what you're saying. 5 years, we get 3 more episodes, 3 more seasons of Mando. We get 2 seasons of Ahsoka. 2 seasons of the Skeleton Crew.
1 season of Skeleton Crew.
1 season of Skeleton Crew. Limited series. 2 seasons of Ahsoka movie.
Yeah, they've said that the Skeleton Crew is definitely more like young adult audience. It's their version. This is what they said. It's their version of like the Goonies.
Oh,
so just do 1 season of that. Not that it's not going to be good, but do 1 season of that. So do 3 of Mando, 2 of Ahsoka, and then the movie. That's
5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do I could see that.
If they don't do another season of Mando, though, which I find that hard. Yeah, I think it's I don't know. Actually, it all just depends on when they want to release the movie.
To me, there's a little bit of me that feels like they should release sooner on the movie, because then maybe I just worry that like with live action, there's a lot more money involved.
Mm-hmm.
That what they can tell in a story gets caught up in bureaucracy.
Yes.
That's what I worry about.
Yeah.
I don't want that. Like, I think one of the reasons why we love The Mandalorian 1 and 2 is that, like, we just, like you said at the very beginning of this episode, that they wanted to go back to just following the influences that George Lucas had, right?
Yeah.
Different things, like, in different styles of film and of the world, right? Of culture. Why can't, like, it gets lost when there's a lot of money involved,
mm-hmm.
and they're trying to not tell a story for the story's sake, and they're just making episodes.
Yeah, we'll see though. I mean, listeners, it may have sound like we dogged on season 3. I enjoyed it. Let's talk favorite episode. This is the last thing we'll end on. I'll go with mine. I absolutely loved the episode with Jack Black and Lizzo. Again, just because it was just like them on a mission. It had these detective feels to it. I didn't really care like that Jack Black or Lizzo were in there. I just really enjoyed, like, we have this task, we have this assignment, we're gonna go figure it out. I love the idea of like these droids going on a rampage against these citizens. So cool. I loved it, and it was just fun to like see just the scale down mission and task of the Mandalorian. And yeah, I just enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that episode.
Are we talking about favorite scene for the 3rd season?
I'm talking favorite episode
from the 3rd season.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that might be my favorite episode as well. I was gonna also say, I mean, I also liked the Mandalorian, like saving that one city, where they get their like little piece of land.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like it got cheapened when they were there for like 2 cents and then jetted out of there. But I loved the whole like idea that the droids have a droid bar.
Yeah,
and that
right.
They're like
their own culture,
their
too.
own like little like their vibe thingy.
Yeah,
like I just thought like, again, this me reiterating, I would love to just have a whole series where like Mandalorians are just doing these like operations, like each one of them has some like wild it's like literally, it's like Rogue One, but it's like little comments from other series and just like one episode of them just doing these crazy things. I would love that so much.
I would love that. Here's a better take. The show's called The Mandalorian. In this case, Din Djarin. Kill off Din and have the Mandalorian be Grogu.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easily.
Right?
Well, look. I don't think like the Mandalorian. That's the thing that there's always kind of like. I've as watching this is that like when it talks about the Mandalorian and we see it's very, obviously Din is the main character,
Mm-hmm.
but like the fact that it's faceless, like we don't really have a lot of face with the Mandalorians, that they could easily make it be like there's like a pass, like like a baton pass, to like, okay, you are the Mandalorian now, like you are the person, because like
you are who we're going to be following stories of
right
here on now. Yeah,
because I think what it comes down to is like the reason why it's more is that he's this weird outlaw
mm-hmm.
in the Mandalorian crew, but also as like the Star Wars world, like he's like this weird, he's a bounty hunter, but he's a Mandalorian. He's got like he's set boundary, like he had boundaries, they were changed. His new codes of his new code, but he also plays this weird line in the Mandalorian, in like the actual Mandalorian culture, as this other character where like just like Bo-Katan kind of does too.
Yeah,
but they have this thing, so like easily could have something, definitely have something like that be there.
I'm excited. I really am. I love the Mando series. It's great. I love Grogu. I want him to start talking. Let's just break down the math. If his species lives up to 400 years, okay, that's when Yoda died, when he was 400 years old. If he is right now, in season 1, he was 50, okay, and we're like 5 years after then, so he's 55, 60-ish. He right now is the equivalent of what? A 4-year-old? A human 4-year-old?
Yeah. Why is he not talking?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That means he's what, an eighth of his life?
Yeah.
Does this species really only like have 150 years of like
not talking?
No, of talking. They only talk for like 150 years? No, because in right now in Star Wars canon, you have the High Republic. Yoda's in there, I'm pretty sure, and that one takes place like 200 years before. Yeah,
to me, I wonder if it's just like a PTSD thing.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah,
like
he can't, but he has too much trauma that he just doesn't. Yeah.
Because I mean, we know he can communicate.
Yeah.
And that he does talk. Like he communicates through the Force.
With
Ahsoka, right?
Yeah.
So like he can speak and have like prep, maybe not a full, but like I imagine a full conversation, to some degree. Maybe not full. Like I mean, yeah, little toddlers can have little conversations.
Yeah.
Like I'm like I have the wildest I remember having the wildest conversation with my kids.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, no. So
I just want him to talk.
I know, me too.
Man.
I wanted that this season.
Yeah.
Look, guys, I do want to like quick little side note for you guys. We have these conversations because they deserve to be had. It's something when we talk about. I know sometimes I have a friend who when we go see movies and I review something, like I remember watching Doctor Strange and he's like, "What do you think about that movie?" And I was like, "Give it like a 6." He's like, "A 6?" It's like an 8 for me. And I'm like, "No, I mean,
sure, yeah,
it was cool. Like it was fun, but like if you're gonna if you want my opinion, like there are some things there.
Yeah,
there are some things in the series. There's things in every single movie." And really what it comes down to is that we love stories.
We love stories.
And I think the way you can really understand is that if you haven't watched it, if you're listening to us and this is one of your first episodes, go watch our first episode. And you can understand from that first episode what it is about movies that we love.
Yep.
Movies and TV shows allow us the ability to feel. It allows us the ability to create a connection that we may never have with an individual that's not real, but takes us on a journey. Mm-hmm. That's why stories are powerful. That's why they'll never go out.
They'll never go out.
And if the problem is that we have literally in a plethora of places to get stories. And TV, I mean, technically, I think a lot of this might be coming down to the looming writer strike.
Yeah. We've talked about this, you and I. It's going to happen.
Oh, I know it's going to happen. And I think that could be a lot of the case of what some of these things that are happening. Yeah. Anyways, we're like overtime, I'm pretty sure. But
hey, guys, again, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, we would love it if you could please subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to. As well, if you could give us a 5-star, leave some comments. It really helps us get discovered on the charts.
Be sure to check out what we're doing on other social like Instagram and YouTube. Let us know what you thought about The Mandalorian. What was your favorite episode? Do you want more Mandalorian episodes? Let us know by emailing us at realchums.com or by DMing us on one of the other platforms. You can find me on Twitter at Rubio_TV.
And you can find me on Twitter at Marstrosity, MarcTrosity. Join
us next week as we discuss Come On, with a special guest.
I'm excited for this one. I remember seeing the trailer for it and I'm like, I'll get around to it.
When I was told that this is the movie that our guest wants to do, I was like, what movie? And I looked it up and I was like, man, I do not have enough class to watch this movie. But I will tell you, I watched the trailer and I'm like, this is going to be good.
This is going to be very good. You do not want to miss this. We're going to have a great conversation, great guests. It's going to be awesome.
See you next time.
We'll see ya.